Hello, I'm going to show you how to improve or fix or modify for better improvement the Kato expansion Unitrack module. It's a little one that spreads out to allow bridging of distances when your track doesn't quite meet up because of curvature in other areas. What's going on here? So anyway, trying to do this quick since it's like the third time I tried to film this. I actually already fixed this one and then the camera screwed up the video. I was trying to do it at 4K, it wasn't a good idea. So you take off that with flathead screwdriver, small one, slide it under the ends, it pops up off its out of its little sockets. Thing is attached by little nubs here through these holes in these slots. See that hole that goes through along the slot? Holds that nub. This part, you want to make sure that the tips point down a bit, because if they point up, they will catch your decoupling, the little metal hooks, decoupling hooks on your couplers. They can catch on the tip of that because it's right in the middle of the track if it's tilted up. So this part has a problem, at least with the ones that I got new, in that why isn't it going back together? There we go. Okay, so the inside rail there, trying to get real close, and you can see that little tip there. When it's square, wheels can catch on that and pop up and car can derail. Happen to me quite a lot, both ends. As well, these rails can oftentimes be kind of tilted out, like to the inside, so that the wheel coming along the inside here then hits the tip of it and all kinds of bad things happen, because it doesn't allow the wheel flange to stay down inside the track, and then the wheel flange pops up and the wheel's not touching the top surface, the wheel flange is riding on the top surface, and then it can pop off and you got a derailment. So to fix that, you take it apart, and on the inside track, and you can tell which one is the inside and which one is the outside with a little fillet cut into it that thins the rail, and this has the fillet on the outside, so this is the inside track. And you can see there, I rounded the tip and filed a little angle into the tip of it, so that when the wheel comes along, it just rides up. So get in there with the pointer, so the wheel comes along and just rides up along this surface onto the inside of the rail, because I cut a little angle in that, sorry. It's so up close to the lens that it's blocking the light. Hope you can see that, versus this one's square, and this one has that angle cut in the tip. Okay, so you want to do that on both sides. Both sides, and you got the point from the one side. You use a small file. See, where's this is the inside one. This is how I did it. It's already been done on these, but just kind of put your finger on the outside of the inside one. Put your file on there, and you scrape your little angle into the tip of it that allows the wheel to the wheel flange to stay inside the two rails and keep everything on rail. So like I said, this has already been modified, but that's the gist of it. Do that. You can do a few of these to round the top of the corner, and then just make sure that you got any flash and screw removed from both sides from pushing down in the corner. It'll spread out a little tiny bit, and you want to remove those burrs. So having done that on both sides, reassembly. You put the tip's in. There's a little, the wide bit on the bottom, the flange or the rail or whatever you call it, goes through the rail joiners in the center. I like to put one all the way in, take the other side, and that way you can just make the rails up, push down on them, push down on them a little bit to keep them firm on the track, and then you push this way to like kind of make sure they go into the right, or how do I put it? So they have the space in that rail joiner in the center. That pressure creates the space so they can slide right in. Boom, that part's together. And then you take this part, and those little nubs kind of slide into those slots to find the holes nicely. It's all very well spaced so that when it's closed like this, it just kind of guides itself in, and you just push that in, and you can feel it fully go in. You can even feel the nubs come through the bottom there, and they just slightly push through, so you'll feel them with your fingers on the other side when they're fully inserted. They're done, and they work much better after you do that mod. One thing that I had to do with mine that I didn't show, that I'm going to show real quick, is if these parts are bent, and mine all were bent quite a bit. They were a little wonky, like when I got them new, and I kind of just used my fingertips and just kind of tried to smooth and straighten them, and then I tried to give the one that was on the inside rail, a little flex out like that, so the tip was pushing against the outside rail on the other side. They go together like that, and I wanted that tip to be just slightly pushing out so that it's pushing on the inside of this rail, because the wheel comes along, the wheel flange comes along the inside of this, and if that tip is pushing against that, the wheel flange, the axle, the wheel and the wheel axle kind of create, if there's any bowing in or anything, as long as it stays within the tracks, it spreads it and creates a proper spacing. I don't even know if that's really going on, but it just, with that pushing against that outside rail, makes it so that the wheels mesh through that junction of rails better. Hope that makes sense. Because it definitely was something that helped me get these functioning better, was to make sure that the tips of the inside rails were pushing flush, flat against the inner surface of the outside rail. And so I made sure that that was going on. It was a happier system. All right. All back together. Done. All right, that's the video guide on upgrading that part, or fixing it, or whatever you want to call it, making it work better. Happy modeling.